Hello friends and welcome. If you're new here, my name is Crystal and on this channel I talk about everything horror. I do reviews, sometimes they have spoilers and sometimes they don't. I also do those fancy top 5 videos here and there. Also, I'm not an expert on any of this stuff. I just like to watch horror movies and shows and talk about them with you guys. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about the 2022 film HELLRAISER. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the film, the good and the bad. And at the end of the video, I'm going to tell you if I think you should watch it, so stick around until the end. There are timestamps on the bottom if you want to skip around a little bit. Don't worry, I won't be offended. So before we get into the video, I just wanted to say thank you for sticking with me and watching my latest videos. I'm doing my best out here. I also wanted to let you know that yes, I will be doing a full spoiler review on Halloween Ends, and I'm going to drop that video on Halloween. I feel like there's a lot of festering right now in the horror community, and I just want to make sure that I do a good job with the video and I don't want to rush it. Okay, so back to HELLRAISER. This film was released on Hulu this year, and it is a take on Clive Barker's 1987 horror classic, where a young woman struggling with addiction comes into possession of an ancient puzzle box, unaware that its purpose is to summon the Synobites. The film stars Odessa Ozian, Jamie Clayton, and Adam Faison, and it was directed by David Bruckner and written by David S. Goyer, Ben Collins, and Luke Petrovsky. And of course, it is based off the book written by Clive Barker, who was also a producer on this film as well. Okay. So let's get into the good. I have to say, I did enjoy the film for what it was. And I think a big reason I liked the film is because we got to see another version of the priest. Jamie Clayton, of course, played the iconic role. And I really liked seeing like the little Cenobite minions like the Chatterer, the Gasp, and the Weeper. The story itself was decent. It had a really cool playing field for everything that happened in the film. Now, I will be honest with you, I am not as educated on the Hellraiser lore as I am with some other films. I have seen them all, so please do not come for me. I mean, who doesn't love the hauntingly beautiful one-liners that were delivered by Doug Bradley many years ago? Another good is I really liked the setting of Roland Voigt's mansion. It reminded me of a mix of like 13 Ghosts and of course House on Haunted Hill. These rich people, they just have everything and they want more. I also want to make a note of the steel cage that was around the mansion because I was a little confused. If the priest and the Cenobites were able to warp reality for all the victims, how were they not able to get past that cage? Maybe one of you guys can let me know in the comments. So the pacing of the film was good. I wasn't bored when I was watching it. It kept my attention. The music, of course, took cues from composer Christopher's Young original score in the original Hellraiser. I also liked how the priests came to collect. As I mentioned, the reality would like shift around the victim, and we weren't sure exactly where they were, but we can assume it was in the labyrinth where the Cenobites originate, which is pretty much hell. The kills were decently gory. Not as gory as I maybe would have expected considering the previous films. I also wish they had like tapped into more of the character of Voight. Voight was a mean, nasty, greedy man who wanted things like otherworldly, but I'm gonna touch on that in a minute. I also like how we were presented with the gifts. Voight was essentially made into a Cenobite because he wanted power, which makes sense. I like the ideas of the gifts because they weren't really gifts. I mean, look who you're getting them from. So the last good thing about this film is that I hope it encourages newer horror fans to go back and watch the other Hellraiser films because I really enjoyed those. It's always nice to know where you come from. Okay, let's move on to the bad. First and foremost, I couldn't have cared less about the main cast. I figured out that Riley's boyfriend, Trevor, or her Sneaky Link, was a bad guy from the beginning because of the way that he presented lament configuration to Riley. And then towards the end of the film when he was like, we have to go back to the mansion, I didn't really care that they were being picked off one by one by the Cenobites. So going back to what I touched on earlier about the characters. In previous Hellraiser films, we were told that people need to have this desire to solve the puzzle. It can't be just some random person who accidentally plays with it and cuts themselves, as we saw in this film. I just wanted the main characters to be assholes. Sorry, but when I watch Hellraiser films, I'm looking for the Cenobites to punish these said assholes. I mean, that's the scariest part of the first two films for me. The true horror of human nature. We were also told time and time again that whoever opened the puzzle box had to have some sadistic need for pain and pleasure. Riley, as far as we know, had little to no desire to open it. I mean, she didn't even know what it was, which negates the whole purpose of the priest and the Cenobites. Now, I do know that as the Hellraiser sequels came out, the lore changed a little bit. But considering this 2022 film is called Hellraiser, you would think that they would follow along that same sort of pattern of desire to open the box. And yes, we did see it with Voight's character, but I don't know, I kind of just wanted maybe the main character that we followed along the journey to be a little more devious. For example, let's say this main character had a fetish and wanted to explore it and came across the story of the puzzle box. So they went searching for it and manipulated the people in her life along the way. And when this main character finds it, they sacrifice other people like Voight did. But I kind of wanted to maybe expand more on that because sometimes it's okay to not have the main character be a good person, especially in Hellraiser films. And they could take it a step further and maybe the fetish could be this character likes when pain is inflicted on others. I know that's a little dark for Hulu, but just an idea. Another qualm that I had with this film is that, yes, I mentioned the Cenobites were cool and they were interesting to look at, but they weren't gross. I mean, we were introduced to Cenobites like Butterball and this Chatterer. Cenobites have horrific mutations, and these 2022 Cenobites were almost more alien-like versus the original Cenobites who were just gross. Also, the part where the Cenobite was used as a victim, that part was a little confusing for me too. I feel like the priests and the Cenobites are out here collecting souls and victims, and a Cenobite wouldn't be in that category. It was sort of a cheap move to save the main characters who I didn't even really like. So, in conclusion, should you watch this film? I mean, if there is nothing else on and you want to give it a try, go ahead and watch it. If you are a huge Hellraiser fan, I would go into the film with low expectations. Personally, I love watching new takes on horror classic films, so I'm gonna keep watching them for you guys, and then I'm gonna tell you about them. So let me know down in the comments if you watched this film or if you're planning on watching it, and if you liked it. Also, let me know if there's any films you want me to cover in the comments down below. Alright friends, that's gonna be it for me into this video. If you like these kinds of videos, I have an entire playlist dedicated to horror movie reviews and shows in the description box below. Thanks so much for watching, especially if you made it this far. You can follow me on my social medias if you want to, and I'll see you guys on Halloween with my Halloween Ends review. Bye guys!